Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you had a good break. Now, for a lot of people, it's not really a break, but a lot of people have to work and that sort of thing, or do extra schoolwork. Um, anyway, I did some grading. I didn't mean to hope I didn't startle you when you got an alert or something like that from Canvas because I did your papers, but I figured I'd do your papers. Um, anyway, so we have some bunch of things to discuss. Hope not to be too long here, but there is a bit of catching up we have to do. Excuse me, three things in particular. Obviously I'm going to talk about the Megalomania assignment, and the fact that there is actually a rewrite date for that due now. Also the rewrite for which is Thursday, that's due for the crime reaction story, and then also the major assignment proposal, which will be essentially, sometimes it's actually required of the curriculum here. Excuse me. What and essentially will be your last. It will be your last assignment. And if you may have already noticed, I already actually published the proposal outline or proposal assignment, and then basically that's actually your only assignment. Your only new assignment actually is going to be the major assignment proposal, but I will get to that. That'll be the end of this. Okay. I will talk about the Megalomania assignment. I was generally pleased with how things went with that, but see, there's about 21 people in this class, and to be honest with you, 2 people didn't quite get it. So when I mean don't get it, it doesn't look like they reached out to Bill Borden or anything like that, or quite got the lead or whatever. So, but I'm going to teach as though the whole class knows what the lead should be and what the next step should be, at least, because 95% of the class actually did get it. But I'll be talking about that a little bit later. It'll also be a bonus for people who watch the whole video, so you get to see what you should be looking for. Okay, so how about we share the screen here and talk about what's due. Okay, we'll go to the assignment list. Okay, give me a second here. All right, of course, this is the student view. Okay. So yes, this is what's been due already. So what's due coming up? All right, so I mean, obviously you have the reading assignments that are due. I'm not going to talk about reading right now. There's only really a couple of chapters that are left. As you can see, there's one that's due March 28th. That's chapter 19, which actually I already went over in a previous lecture, essentially, just to kind of, because it was kind of, actually, I'm actually typically ahead of where I typically am in this course from prior years. I've been a lot more efficient this semester, so what can I say? All right, so first of all, you have the rewrite for the Rutgers students' reaction to the crime. It just simply says, that. So please just submit to this. This is actually due Thursday. I gave it again extra time, so you're able to concentrate on the Megalomania assignment. A lot of people did well on this, and again, this is actually an example of a story that did well. Just have to wait for the pinwheel of death. Okay, so yes, congratulations, Morgan. Students at Rutgers University say they are worried about the rise in crime in the Rutgers area and often concerned about their safety, especially when walking alone. So again, in the second half of the semester, we're kind of dealing with the reporting end of things more than the writing end of things. So what we're trying to do here is to try to get like a fuller story. So, we have an idea here, and that's the Rutgers students' reaction to the crime, and an angle. As I've talked before, we try to get an idea and an angle, and that is that the students are, in this particular story, are concerned, which seemed to be the vast majority of what people said. There was mixed, but there was also concern, largely concerned. I didn't see any stories, I don't think, that where people were totally comfortable with everything that's going on, but they're concerned about their safety, especially when walking alone. Morgan breaks it into transitions. Don't forget that. You have the lead here. Okay. And then you divide it into sections that actually back up the lead. You have a transition, say, okay, so what, how, why, show me where students are actually concerned about their safety and what they're doing about it. So students say they heard about students impacted or have been impacted by themselves, and it makes them scared. So that's one way to explain why they feel the way they do. It's because they've heard about it. Okay. And then you have an anecdote. Lindsay Grossman, a Rutgers student, has not only been a victim of crime in New Brunswick, but has been in close proximity to other incidents. And then more of the anecdote right here. Recently, a girl at 3 a.m. removed a hubcap from her car. She was caught on camera kicking it before almost stealing it. Well, it's a small but petty crime, it is a huge, and maybe a quote, is a huge convenience and shouldn't have happened. Then you can actually continue with anecdotal information if the narrative continues. Yes. You don't have to automatically switch to another transition. You know, she was able to detail an event after 2 a.m. in her apartment. She was startled to hear a couple of rounds of gunshots. God, that's awful. A similar event occurred about a week later, but this time someone had been shot and killed. And actually, I checked that, and that's true. That's what happened. So now we switch gears again. Other students attribute their worries and issues with the comfortability to the fact that security and police presence on the campus is one that I've heard of many years. The lack of police presence. I know there's efforts to transform the police department and everything, but there's also a lot of people who still feel like there should be like police, more of it. Whatever side you come down is fine. Okay. Then we got an anecdote here. Christopher Kakamano, is that you say that? A Rutgers student says that as a freshman, he was shocked to see how little security there is. There's a quote and more anecdotal information here. You can see transition, and there's stuff in between that basically really gets down to the nitty gritty of how people are reacting and feeling about the crime on campus, okay, or crime in the area, okay? All right, so let's make sure, like I said, I was actually, again, overall pleased with how people did on that assignment. Let's, do a good job trying to make sure, I'm just looking at my notes here. That we got a good story there, get whatever information we need. Remember that there is a discussion point that's out there with information, and if you need it, help finish produce a better story. Okay, if you need like additional sources or whatever. Okay. All right, so let's talk for a sec about megalomania. Okay, so megalomania. So the thing with that is that again, like pretty much 95 to 98% of the class got it, got the lead. Here's the thing, okay. Again, as I told you before, that first paragraph of that press release is not the lead, okay. Doesn't mean that information in that first paragraph should be tossed from the story. No, or eliminated. It should be in the story, but really down at the bottom. Okay. What you have here is a story that goes beyond a restructuring. Okay. So let me just reemphasize that. Even though there were people who got the lead and everything and understood what it was, you still maybe did too much emphasis on the restructuring and not enough on actually what happened. What really separates this story from every other story that involves a change in management or a change in a company status, change in a company stability. What you have here essentially is basically a scumbag. Okay, a guy who essentially, if you want to, maybe this is a little bit too grandiose of an example, but basically you have a guy who basically is running like a company like Disney, and suddenly like he brings stability to a major company in the United States. It could be Amazon or whatever, and he did it because of certain actions he undertook that went beyond the pale. So that those actions, you violated the code and you violated the code of conduct of the company, make this more than just an executive change story, okay? See, here's the thing, okay? Executive changes, as they call them, happen all the time, okay? We get restructurings, they happen all the time. They happen in my company right now, because now I'm actually in business industry. They actually, or something we report on, once a monthly magazine, but something we report on every day in our magazine every month. This is the web page. It's not very high tech, but this is the current web page right now for best review. Okay. If you want to find out like about executive changes at like major insurance companies, you're not going to find it actually at the top unless there's something extraordinary that happens. Okay. So what you're going to see is you're going to see stuff like, insurance related stories have something to do with like maybe some remote connection to Ukraine. Okay. What's going on in Ukraine, which is just horrible, by the way. A trend in like verdicts that are actually exceeding the billions of dollars now. There was one verdict actually, it was $300 billion. And why do we write about this? Because insurance companies are usually the ones that left to pick up the tab. Okay. Money issues, things like that, things that matter to people. See how I'm scrolling down? That means that just like a story, the most important stuff's at the top of the web page, and the least important stuff is at the bottom of the web page. And if I go down to the bottom, I will find our executive change story. See, we actually like these happen. This happens so frequently, a change in management, that restructuring, that we actually put it down at the bottom of our website, so it's not like the first thing people see, and we like pile them together because there's a bunch of them. Okay. The 60-year-old insurance carrier, Geico. Everybody's heard of Geico. That's a big company, right? Everybody's seen the commercials and everything. Well, the executive chairman retired, right? But okay, so that's significant. That's interesting. But there's continuity that's going to happen here at Geico. There's a stability and succession. So it's not like necessarily a big deal. Okay. It's a big enough deal to be actually reported on and posted on our website and printed in our magazine, but it's not something that's going to replace, stuff that involves pocketbook issues or Ukraine or whatever. Okay. There's a former Geico CEO who passed away. CoverWallet CEO steps down. They picked Chubb's a big insurance company. Okay. They appointed a new treasurer. Okay. So again, this is like interesting stuff for people. It's interesting for people to know, but it's not the be all to end all. It's way down the bottom of the website. So what you need to do is you need to turn your story, your Megalomania story, from a bottom of the website story to a top of the website story. Okay. And there is a way to do that. And that is why you have to contact Bill. Okay. Now, what you should have gotten was this. After you contact Bill, well, let's go to the rest of the press release itself. Okay. Actually, I meant to do that first. Okay. So remember, this is the press release. I was looking for this this was a mistake I made. I saw some people wrote February 27th, but I purposely changed the date to March 11th on this because maybe I'm missing something here. I've been read through this several times, but March 11th was the due date. So you had to kind of pretend that was the day that this actually happened, the day you submitted the assignment. Okay. So March 11th should be the date. Okay. If I somehow mentioned February 27th somewhere, I apologize for that. I don't recall doing that, but maybe I did, so anyway, now, again, they've rewarded it. So it's similar to what I just showed you from Best Review, just a simple restructuring, no big deal, nothing to see here. Anybody watch South Park, or Simpsons? That's what they say, right? Restructuring, all the wacky things they're doing. I know there's a lot of wacky things they're doing. I get it. It's Bill's sense of humor, okay, is all made up. But this is where you should have really landed right here. Okay. And here. Okay. This should have been the big red flag. Okay. He quit. And why? Okay. Internal investigation. The stuff he did was not related to performance of the company allegedly, but did undermine his credibility and to the invested public. So yeah, what happened there? He violated the code of conduct. Okay, right here. All right. So we had to go to Bill, and basically, like I said, this is a macro to micro process. He just basically asked the question, what happened? And yes, he's playing the role of spokesman. I'm trying to give you guys real world experience here. So he's playing the role of spokesman. So you should have then gotten this, which he did. Most of you, almost all of you did. Okay. Okay. So this actually this is like a little bit of an old version I have, so it might be a little bit out of whack. But anyway, you can see the expense voucher and see the stuff that he actually charged for. He didn't get the money, but he did charge for it. Okay. And I'm not asking you guys to list all this stuff, but really use your common sense or common judgment here to really pick out what you think is just the craziest details. I'm not asking for a bunch of them, maybe 3, 4, 5. Okay. But I mean, okay, so this is kind of gross, but actually, again, this is based on something that really happened. Okay. And actually this really happened. And I'm actually, hopefully next week, I'm actually going to show you guys the video of the real life executive who actually did something relatively close to what was described here. Again, this was based on a real event, real experience, but this voucher pretty much closely, if not exactly, resembles what had actually happened. Okay. Anyway, yes, this is all the gross, disgusting stuff that he got. Bar lodging. Okay, so that was important, but all the wine, the grape peelers, dog fighting, that's disgusting. I mean, I'm a dog owner, man. Come on. So this is stuff that really raises a red flag. So this is stuff that probably should be listed up high, right? Maybe second or third graph even, the big birthday cake, one thing, our next written assignment, besides this major proposal thing that we're going to be doing, I'm going to assign next week, is going to be a data journalism assignment. It's something I've been meaning to do every single semester, but it always gets squeezed out by whatever's going on. You guys have done actually a generally good job this semester, so I've actually been able to move it at a little faster pace. But data journalism is something that actually has become a big part of journalism, and you're not just quoting people anymore. You're quoting actually documents, things like that. All this stuff is available on the web. And actually, I'm going to use my again my company as an example. It's actually a story I did, even though I'm managing editor, I write stories, which is fine. It's great. So anyway, so many stories now are actually not just stories that come out of, the information doesn't just come out of people's mouths. They come from, people's minds, people's people posting stuff on the web, people delivering stuff, that sort of thing. I did a series of stories about, again, the rising tide of verdicts that are exceeding billions of dollars that the insurance companies have to basically pay for. And as you can see right here, I mean, I write about a real case. Someone had to pay. It was Beer Belly Sports Bar, a Texas establishment that gave a man too much to drink. He ran a red light and killed a woman and a 16-year-old granddaughter with his car. It was left up to a jury in December to decide, and they decided they did $300 billion, which is more than Apple's entire 2021 revenue. Okay. Getting close to $1 billion. You've seen impossible ones, but these are now shock verdicts, you want to call it. I mean, it's horrible to even call it that because it was such a tragic thing that happened, and they probably deserve more money than that. But anyway, but this is generally insurance companies are getting concerned about, having to pick up the tab here. And I have people quoted basically saying things are getting excessive and stuff like that. Of course, you could argue with that with this other case, but then I have essentially a document that essentially backs that theory up, that things are getting a lot higher. And from 2019 to 2010, 2019, the share of verdicts resulted in awards of $5 million, rose from 29 to 37% in general liability, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then what I see right here, I wrote, usually when you quote a report, you say according to. So according to a December 2021 Swiss Re report, that's the name of an insurance company, U.S. litigation funding and social inflation. Okay. So to help supplement my story, I have an actual document, I have an actual report. So that's how you would handle this right here, is you would say, according to a voucher provided by Megalomania, okay? That's all you would do, okay? Or a voucher for Megalomania provided a voucher that said, and you put that in the story, okay? I mean, it could be a couple of graphs and that sort of thing. And then maybe you get the stuff from Bill, like, okay, so you did this bad stuff. He didn't actually like use company money because they denied the voucher. So what's gonna happen? You can ask questions like, is he gonna be charged? Is he gonna be, because this some of this gross stuff he did. He actually did do something. He actually did try to get money for it. Is actually a crime, that sort of thing. So, but the most important thing really was to get this voucher. Okay. All right. So those of you who haven't, you better do it. Okay. You need to get it. You don't get it from me. You get it from Bill. Okay. Bill's around. Bill can help you with that. Okay. The main thing is, though, is that you just can't really be like a mouthpiece for the company. Okay. All right. Like one of the things I saw is that I feel like people probably felt like they also had to kind of stick a little too close to the press release. Okay. And first of all, as far as sticking close to the press release is concerned, yes, you do report information from the press release, but you have to attribute to the press release or the voucher. Those are your two main sources of information here. And then there's Bill too. Bill, I know, by the way, and Bill, I know, said, don't use my name. I wish he had not said that, but whatever. So anyway, so I guess he would be the third source of this story. Okay. But if you get information from the press release, you should say according to the press release, or according to the company. Okay. Get information from the voucher, it's just say according to the voucher. If you get information from Bill, really whatever he said, source said, or Bill Boardman said, or whatever. Okay. All right. But some of the writing in the press release is actually kind of like static. Okay. The board of directors asked for and received a resignation for. Okay. I saw people write their leads like this. Okay. You don't have to write it exactly like that. Don't be afraid of that. Okay. What happened was was that Bronson quit or resigned because, okay. Some of you wrote like that they asked for the resignation, but you didn't finish the sentence, Okay, so they asked for resignation, but then what came after that? Something more important than getting asked for the resignation happened after that, and that is he actually resigned. So, really, like, even saying ask for and receive the resignation is too wordy a way of saying it. You gotta like talk like you gotta write it like you would say it in conversation. Bronson resigned. Bronson quit. Okay, Bronson, and you gotta say who he is first. The co-founder of Megalomania resigned after violating the code of conduct. I mean, that's simple, straightforward. Okay. Not. I mean, some of you also wrote like Megalomania announced the departure of Bronson to resign. I mean, that would be fine too, because that is an action that's also happening that Megalomania is announcing. But it's just there's really no need to say. I mean, you could get into later in a story that they actually asked him to resign. They forced him out. Okay, but the main thing is that you have to be as simple and as simplistic as possible. Bronson quit. Okay. All right. So that assignment, that rewrite is due on Monday, March 28th. Okay. Which I have right here. Okay. And again, you can contact Bill again. Okay. If you have any additional assignments, again, if you didn't get actually if you got an R, you have to rewrite it. If you got a C to a B plus, you should rewrite it anyway. It's actually optional to rewrite, obviously, but you should rewrite it. because you should try for a higher grade. Obviously, you probably got to. Some of you are like really close to getting an A, but you maybe had like one. I saw like maybe like an error in the first paragraph where you said that Bronson was fired. You know, well, Bronson wasn't fired. Bronson quit. He was forced out, but he quit. So you have to be really careful with your language, the words you use. You know, every word matters. You know, so saying he was dismissed, incorrect. Okay, I think so, there was one person who had like everything right in their story, but they had that error in the lead saying it was dismissed, and I actually made them rewrite it because that's just something that just can't happen. You can't make that error, especially in the first paragraph. Maybe in the, it's more acceptable maybe in the 10th paragraph, but not the main thrust of the story. Okay, because that's actually the first thing. If you write that, it's there's a good possibility that before that story even gets finished, it's going to go out as a one paragraph story, you know, one paragraph bulletin or something, especially something that's significant. And it may go out as a tweet, you know, and that's the first thing people are going to see, you know, and this may be the only thing they'll read, you know. So there we have it. So that's the you know, so that's hopefully it with the Megalomania assignment. Like I said, maybe next week I'll actually show you the actual 60 minutes video of the guy who actually did pretty much all this stuff. All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about actually is the major assignment, which again is a requirement for this course. I don't know if it'll stay a requirement, but it is so far this time. It is posted. In case you noticed some alert come on over the weekend, I post because I'm taping this on Saturday and I want to make sure you saw this. All right, so this is actually supposed to be a story. This is going to be due. If you want to check here, it's going to be due on the actual story is going to be due on May 2nd. Okay, which is supposed to be the last day of classes, but this proposal is due on March 28th. The same day as the Megalomania rewrite. Okay, so you have two things due the same day. Okay, so this is going to be the proposal for the very last assignment again, and this is where you really have to be like what they call a self-manager. You have to really think on your feet. You really have to actually come up with your own idea, and you have to write longer, and you have to basically take everything that we've learned this semester and like kind of put it all together, whether it's like, you know, understanding data, or we're going to do a feature assignment too. That's my plan. You know, that couldn't be incorporated in part of this, but the whole idea of actually also just writing in a way that's simplistic, in a way that a language everybody understands, that's important. So all the things that we've talked about, being self-managers, coming up with your own idea, that's all going to like come together here. Okay. And if you might remember that actually, like I described essentially how the assignments will break down. Okay. And actually, let's give me 1 second here, and I'm going to actually show you again because it looks like we're going to have 7 assignments overall. So earlier in the semester, I actually did break down the essentially how the grades will break down and everything. But you know, now that I know exactly how many assignments we're going to have, let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk about how they'll break down, barring any kind of catastrophe or whatever. This is something completely different. This is how things should break down. Okay, so these are assignments that we've had and will have for this semester. Okay. So anyway, so again, I grade on progress. Okay, so you know, this assignment, the first assignment was a profile. Okay, so that counts essentially like one time. Okay, as one assignment. The worksheets, that counts as a one assignment. Okay, what does that mean exactly? One assignment. Okay, the data journals assignment will count as one assignment. Then the feature will actually, since it's the second last assignment, grading on progress, that will count twice as much as the previous assignments. Okay. And the major assignment, which you're going to work on the last month of the semester, will count 4 times as much as the major assignment. Wow, what does that mean? Math. Okay, so see how things are building up to like your grades are going to, your assignments, the last 2 assignments are going to count more. Okay, that's the bottom line. Now I broke it down to this. Is that how does that break down? Don't forget that you're writing portion of the course is 70% of your grade, overall grade. So this is within the 70%. 30% is class participation. Again, that was participation in things like, I want to see like you rewrite stories that you should rewrite, even if they're optional. I want to see things like, have you asked questions? Have you, when it's obvious that you should ask questions and I've seen it in your writing. And of course, also I had a discussion point, which I plan to have again for assignments. That's, I wanted to see people participate in that. But within the 70%, you have these 7 assignments. So the way it breaks down, of that 70%, okay, the profile will be essentially 9.1% of that, okay, of that 70%, okay. Same thing with the worksheets, 9.1, 9.1, 9.1, 9.1 is all equals out to about 100, okay. And the feature counts twice, so that would be about 18.2, okay. All right. And then, the last one, the data will count 4 times as much as that. So then that would be what, 9 times 1 would be like what, 36.4. That's of, I don't know that comes out quite to 100%, but of the 70%. But that's how things will break down. And that's why, like, making sure that you're watching these videos and paying attention and learning is important. Okay. So, and actually just building things up so you get to a good place is important. And also making sure that you pay attention to this part I'm going to talk about right now, and that's the major assignment proposal is important too. Okay. So anyway, for this initial preparatory assignment, which is, when I say initial, I mean meaning that the first thing I have to do for this major assignment is actually give me a proposal, a plan. You'll write a description of a proposed for a proposed topic. For a major assignment, keep it to 2 or 3 sentences. I'm not looking for like a major outline already here, okay? The idea is that reporters have to be self-managers and you need to think of ideas on your own. Your description should state the topic of the story and why you think it would be of interest to readers, okay? So again, just a couple of sentences basically mentioning that. Here's what the description the story should focus on. We want to look at something timely, okay? News events impacting you and the people who care about. And yeah, I know we got so much going on right now between like COVID and try to be a little bit more original than that, but because don't repeat stories we've done already. I kind of purposely avoided COVID as because it's just been done before and I wanted to kind of move on from that. But I also felt like it might be an opportunity for people to come up with some sort of COVID related idea if they wanted to, and for the major assignment or something, because it's still something we're dealing with. My digital media class, which does similar assignments to what we do here, actually did a reaction to the COVID restrictions. And then right while they're doing the reaction, they kind of changed the rules, as you guys know. We still have to wear them in classrooms, but apparently people in dorms and stuff like that don't have to. So anyway, so that's something. Okay, also, like, there's things happening next semester. Like, I guess, are they gonna have to wear them next semester? I think a lot of international students are gonna be returning next semester, right? To New Brunswick campus, or even arriving for the first time, right? So, again, we have issues with Ukraine, stuff like that. But we have to do something really that's manageable. Again, no major investigations, please, and keep it simple. The ideal story really is just getting like a reaction to something that's going on, perhaps. Okay. People want to know, like, what is essentially like, they want to get like some sort of a gauge of like how people are feeling about a certain thing. And maybe there's a way to validate how they feel about what's going on. The Ukraine story is interesting because it's horrible what's going on over there right now. It's terrible. But it'd be, it's interesting. Like, I wonder, like what is really on the foremost in people's minds now? Because, all these polls that are taken and everything, I don't think people are really being completely truthful. I think people want to say they're very concerned about Ukraine, and they should be. And it's something that could break into something wider and involve us even more. But it seems like at poll after poll, it seems like people's biggest concerns are inflation. So, mean, that's also another topic you could explore if you wanted to. The price of things, I mean, what's right in front of them, Um, so, you know, so it's interesting to know like where people are at on certain things, and that's why like getting reaction is interesting because you want to know how people really feel about things. So that's why it's important to do that, and that's why we did that for that crime story. And actually, we got some really interesting responses. I didn't realize. I mean, I know again this was only a few students talking, but I didn't quite realize how bad things were in certain spots of the city. It's so that gave me some sort of an idea. It wasn't actually like a scientific survey, but it gave me some sort of an idea. Okay. And to be honest with you, hearing about one murder is bad enough. Okay. Something that incorporates something we've talked about this semester, something that shows impact while also being relatable. So, I mean, again, just some of the things we've talked about, maybe like, again, a trending idea, something that's going around campus, whatever, it should be timely and newsworthy. Okay. So we don't have to worry about things like, the greatest thing that happened in my life, 10 years ago, let's update it. Nothing like that. Okay. Given that you will not be able to begin researching this topic until it's been approved, we will select the topic within 1 week and focus on a newsworthy issue that will be important during that time frame. Okay. So I already discussed that. Once your topic is approved, you can begin reporting. Okay. So here are the deadlines. Okay. Description is due March 28th, and that's submitted through Canvas. You submit it through this entry right here. I should actually reword that so it's a little clearer. Submit it through this Canvas entry. The story will actually be longer. So this will actually give you an opportunity to provide more depth. You could probably I'm not asking for, again, a major investigation, but you can get a little bit deeper into something. And that might just be a matter of just interviewing more people and getting more anecdotes, that sort of thing. Okay. So, if you want to look into it probably would allow you to do something like, maybe look at the COVID restrictions, but maybe a little bit more specific angle than that, because there's so many different facets to that whole story, and the longer story will actually allow you to dig deeper, into that and get maybe more wide array of opinions on it. Okay. But just don't propose an idea saying COVID, okay, because that's been so general and it's been so overdone. I'm also looking for something that hasn't necessarily been done a million times. Okay. But something maybe a little more specific angle about it. Okay. All right. There's no rewrite on this. Okay. So it's recommended, but not mandatory to submit a draft to me before it, which pretty much everybody does anyway, before the final story is due. Okay. So I really don't want any surprise at the end of the semester. Why did I get a bad grade? Well, it's because you didn't really work at it to have me see it. So, and then the final submission must be done via Canvas in a separate entry, which I will create probably within the next week and a half or so. Okay. All right. So major assignment proposal is due on Monday, March 28th. Again, it's really pretty open-ended there. Okay. I just want an idea. Okay. And why it's a good idea. That's all I really want to know. Okay. So you have that due on March 28th, major assignment proposal. Again, it's just something you submit through this entry right here. Just something on a Microsoft Word doc, a couple of sentences. That's it. Okay. I'll probably try to clarify that a little bit. Okay. All right. You got the rewrite for the Megalomania press release. And of course you got the rewrite for the third assignment, which is due before those two. That's due on March 24th, my son's birthday. That again, let me know if you need any help with that. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. I hope you, again, had a good break. Try to get some sleep before you get those classes started. And that's it. I'll be talking. Bye-bye.